So it seems to become tradition to have a pre-title moment before the titles of my season 7 rankings. I thought I'd have one for my ranking as well. So here it is. So on to the ranking. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my Season 7 ranking of Doctor Who. So this ranking is going to be ranking the 4 Doctor Who Season 7 stories. Spearhead from Space, Doctor Who and the Silurians, The Ambassadors of Death, and Inferno. And I have to say, as I mentioned at the end of my Inferno review, Season 7 is probably my favourite classic Doctor Who season as of this point in the rankings, and probably will be up until Season 25, which is a long way off. Still, overall my favourite series is Series 1, aka Season 27 from 2005, but overall classic, it would be Season 25. So, excuse me, so 25 is my favourite classic series, and I think Series 7 is my next favourite one. And I would understand the people who want Season 7 to be the next Doctor Who complete collection season Blu-ray box set. I think 10 and 26 are the ones that have been rumoured to be one, or the next one, or the next two. But I can see why people would want 7 as the next one. I think they were saying this after season 12s came out, that 7s was the most popular one from the fans. And I can clearly see why. It's got 2 of the most popular stories of the entire show, and it's got another 2 great stories as well thrown in for good measure. So yeah, the only problem is 3 of those 4 stories are 7 parts, and I think just a little bit too long. I think we could have cut 1 episode out of each of those, and we could have had a 3-parter thrown in for good measure. Just spice it up a little bit. But hey, these are the last 7-parters of the entire show. From now on, 6-parters are going to be the most number of episodes, with the exception of Trial of a Time Lord, which is technically 14, but which is twice as long. But split into 3 4-part and 1 2-part segments, so you could count those as 3 4-part and 1 2-part stories as well. So if you did that, then technically Dark Master Plan's 12-part story is the longest, and Inferno is the last 7-parter, and the last one that is more than 6 parts, if you did that. But anyway, so Trial of a Time Lord aside, this is the last more than 6-parter story. So here we go, Season 7. And so let's start with number 4. Number 4 was one that I used to really love, and at one point may have been number 1 on this list, or number 2 at least. But after rewatching this, I just wasn't into it as much. I enjoyed it, but not as much as I used to. I didn't like it as much. I found it good, but out of the 3 stories, I used to think it was the one that warranted all 7 parts the most. But after watching it again, it was the one that I thought warranted it the least. This story just dropped a little bit for me, and I don't understand how it happened, but it's happened. So number 4 is, of course, The Ambassadors of Death. At this point in time, I had a look on my little list yesterday about all my season rankings and series rankings and what stories placed at what point. I think besides season 25, with season 25, this season has the highest scored, lowest placed story on the ranking, or at least at this time for season 25, with both their lowest ranking stories being 8 out of 10. Anything else is 7 or lower. 7 at highest, but this season and season 25 certainly have 8s as their lowest at the moment. But then again, like I said, this could change. One of the other seasons its lowest ranked story could be an 8, or even a 9, probably not a 9, but 8, and 25 could easily go down or up. We'll see. but at this moment I think it's 8. As for a new series, I think the highest low-ranked position has been 7 so far, at least. Not every season will have 7 or 6 as the lowest scoring one. Some of them will have lower. Look at last season. The lowest 2 were under 5, and season 2 had an under 5, and we're going to get up more under 5s coming up. I think next season we're definitely going to have an under 5. So, but for this very rare time, we've got over 7 as our lowest scored. The score for our lowest ranked story on the list. So that's good. So anyway, Ambassadors of Death. Basically, what I said just before mentioning it. So there we go. Number 3. This one I surprisingly enjoyed more on rewatching this story, and that's good considering which story it is and my connection with it. Surprised how it actually just did it on a rewatch, but oh well, maybe several years in between watching these stories has helped with some of them. And in this one's case, this is one of the earliest ones I ever watched. In fact, this was the first one I watched on DVD from the classic era, and it's one of the first 3 classic era DVDs I got. Doctor Who and The Silurians. Yeah, I was genuinely surprised how much I enjoyed this story on a rewatch. I found it very good, really enjoyable. Some didn't find it perfect like Spearhead or Inferno, so spoiler alert for those 2. But, at least on an objective level, at least subjectively, I don't think it was as good either. Or even Ambassadors of Death before I rewatched this. But it was still really good and it's still really fun. And I think subjectively it's just a little bit less than Ambassadors. Objectively I think it's better. That's why it's in the middle, or near middle anyway. It's 4 stories. But it's still really fun, really enjoyable, and it's got some great moments, and the pacing is actually pretty good. I think it's probably the best paced of the 7-part stories, although Inferno's one did work pretty well. But honestly, I think this one just had the best pace and the best structure out of the 3 7-parters, which is odd. Come to think of it, it's quite odd. But I still think it's a very good. I still really enjoyed this one and thought, yeah, great. Number 2. Number 2 is one of the most popular Doctor Who stories of all time, and so far is one of the best season finales. And judging how amazing season finales have been so far, wow. And this is Inferno. I mean, I'm not going to say it's better than War Machines. I'm not going to say it's better than Evil of the Daleks, but I will say it's definitely better than Reign of Terror. That's the one season up to this point that I'm not keen on, but season finale. But Time Warrior, not Time Warrior, that's season 11's opener. Time Meddler, War Machines, Evil of the Daleks, Wheel in Space, War Games, and now Inferno. At worst, they're great. At best, they're amazing. And I think War Machines and Evil of the Daleks I would put above this one, but the rest I would put below it, with War Games just below. Then Time Meddler, then Win in Space, then Reign of Terror, I guess. But yeah, this is a great story. This is a great way to end it. The 7-part structure actually works in a way. I mean, I preferred the structure with Doctor and the Silurians, but I could see how well it was used here, and it was really well done. I think it could have been okay at 6 though. I mean, cut out some more of the talky bits in the first 2 and the 5th and 6th episodes, and you could have cut it down to 6 episodes. But it's still a really well achieved story and just really well done. Best supporting cast of the season. Not necessarily the best supporting characters, but best supporting cast. Possibly one of the best supporting casts of the entire show. And the main cast, I forgot to mention this in my review, or just didn't really want to mention, I just said because it's just repeating myself again, but John Pertwee, Caroline John, and Nicholas Courtney, just amazing as usual, and as is John Levine, who's getting a bit more to do in this story, thank goodness. And also, it's a great way for Liz to exit the series from, even though
I think it turned, according to Wally Pajak, aka Mr. TARDIS 11, she left because she was pregnant. Or because she left the show afterwards and she couldn't do season 8. So this eventually became Liz's last story, and they had to bring in a new companion, and they settled to replace the really smart, really confident, and more or less brave, most of the time, Liz, with someone a bit more conventional, companion, at least, and certainly one of the more in the eyes of the viewers, a more conventional companion, at least. And yeah, we'll talk about Jo when we get to her, but Liz was great, and I'm glad she came back in the Five Doctors for a brief appearance, so that was cool. But anyway, so Inferno, that was one heck of a great finale, but there's still one more story we've got to rank, and this is one heck of a season opener. Season openers don't seem to fare as well as the finales. I mean, we had An Earthly Child was great, if it was just that one episode, but the other 3 episodes weren't so great. The one episode means the first one, the other 3 weren't so great. Planet of Giants, I personally really like that story. I know it's not really that well known. The Pattern Galaxy 4 is okay, pretty good. Smugglers was alright, could have been a lot worse. Tomb of the Cybermen was fucking awesome, and The Dominators was fucking awful. And now we've got another fucking awesome story, I guess. Well, maybe not awesome, but really good, close enough. And so number 1 is, of course, Spearhead from Space. Another really great story, and another great post-regeneration story, just like Power of the Daleks. It's just really good, and John Pertwee hits the ball running just a little bit. I think Patrick Troughton hit it off from day one, whilst Pertwee took an episode or 2, certainly an episode and a bit, to get into the role. But certainly, as soon as he started acting like the Doctor we know him to be, then that's where he hit the ground running. So, amazing. Great start for the Autons, great start for Liz, great return for the Brigadier, and just all around brilliant stuff, and looks beautiful in colour. And the fact that it's filmed on film and mostly on location just makes it look even more beautiful. It kind of felt a bit odd when going back to a bit more of a set and a bit of blue screen stuff, colour chrome thing, chroma key thing with Doctor Who and the Silurians. It did look a bit odd on the first scene being inside a set of caves, but the locations just look really good, and it's just looks really great, and it's presented really beautifully. And on Blu-ray, it'll probably look really great. Well, I have seen the Blu-ray, but I didn't watch it for the rewatch. But I expect on Blu-ray it is really lovely to look at and really beautiful. I think it's certainly prior to Planet of the Dead, it's probably the best looking of the Blu-ray restored stories, as it apparently before they started putting some more on Blu-ray, it was the only one that was eligible to be put on Blu-ray due to its being filmed on film, and it had HD qualities. And whilst they had restored the Next Doctor for the specials box set and series 1, 2, and 3 and 4 for their releases, this was the only other one that they could do at the time. In 2013, it was okay to go on Blu-ray, so they put it on a Blu-ray. Since then they've restored the TV movie for Blu-ray release, and they released the animated versions of the Power of the Daleks, part animated version of Shudder, and as of filming this review, they're about to release the Macra Terror. By the time this by the time this is out, the DVD and Blu-ray and Steelbook Blu-ray of the Macra Terror should be out, so that's done. And of course, the new Blu-ray box sets for each season, so they've restored the stories for those as well. K9 and Company included in the season 18 one. So, but before all that, they could only have done this one, as well as maybe restore series 1 to 4, and the Next Doctor, because of certain reasons, as I've already mentioned. But yeah, it's great, and seems to be really looks really great, and even pre-restoration, it's Blu-ray restoration, it looks really great. So yeah, Spearhead from Space, a excellent opening story for season 7, and an excellent first story for the Third Doctor, and an excellent story all around. So I'll recap my list again just in case, and I didn't have an actual little paper list to look at my notes because this is only 4 stories. I can remember it fairly easily. I've basically got a basic ranking in my head. Number 4 is The Ambassadors of Death. Number 3 is Doctor Who and the Silurians. Number 2 is Inferno, and number 1 is Spearhead from Space. So that's it from my season 7 ranking. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for the start of my season 8 reviews with Terror of the Autons. See you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Well, as it's a tradition to have a pre-title sequence before the season 7 rankings, idiot! You were doing so well as well. So, here we go. Inferno. Sorry, that's not right. So here we go. See, like I said, this could change. One of these other seasons could get an 8 at being their lowest scoring season. Lowest scoring story, or being the highest score being what was that? And this is Spearhead from Space. Excuse me.